morning. Please, I'm so sorry that I actually took time to make this video. I'm so sorry. Even right now, self, I'm actually feeling a lot of cold because I don't know what's wrong. Feeling a lot of cold, but let me get to that. I just promised myself to make this video as fast as I get my hand, because like I wanted to make it a live session before, but I noticed that I didn't really have much time, and I decided to just make it a video and cover up the whole thing. So I want to start with structure. We have something that is called a market structure. Let us forget the whole concept of a sweep of liquidity right now. Let us focus on structure right now. We have something that is called a swing structure. A swing structure. We have something called a swing structure. A swing structure is a structure that tells us the direction of price. Swing structure is a structure that tells us the direction of price. We know that we always have something that is called higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So we understand that concept that we used to have higher low, higher high. So right now, I want to now bring that concept into what is called a swing structure. A swing. Now a swing is we have two kind of swing. We have a bullish swing and a bearish swing. And a bearish swing. And a bearish swing. Now on a bullish swing, this guy here is our swing high, and this guy here is our swing low. On a bearish swing, this guy here is our swing high, this guy here is our swing low. So the first thing we always want to recognize is when it comes to trading, we just want to focus on structure like this. This is what most of us, I'm actually using most of us because I'm also a forex trader. This is what most of us actually focus on: patterns. And this game is not a game of pattern. This game is a game of structure. Like a game of structure. It's just like don't let me divert. So let me just keep it simple. Trading is a game of structure. The first thing is we want to know the direction of the market, and the first way to know the direction of the market is not by patterns, it's by knowing what kind of swing leg are we at right now. Are we on a bullish leg like this, or we are on a bearish leg like this? So we want to identify which leg we are. So the moment you can identify the kind of leg we are, then we want to know which phase that we are. We want to understand which phase that we are in trading. So this is market structure. Then we also have something that is called internal structure. That internal structure, I like to call it that internal structure is categorized into two. We have the internal structure. I don't really give names to these things. Like, let me just explain. We have a swing structure, and let me just put it like this. We have something that is like when price is coming back inside. When price is coming back inside a trade, like price is coming back, we call it substructure. Like this. And when price is going back up, we call this an internal structure. All this blah blah blah. So but the most important one is this swing structure. That's what we care about most. This is the swing structure we care about most. Let us forget about the substructure, the break of structure. Now, one thing I also want to clarify is that we want to always understand, we always want to make sure that our swing structure is actually right, because most of the time too we get to mark out a wrong swing structure. When candlestick begin to deceive us, let me give us example of a wrong swing structure. For instance, let me check through my chart and find if I can see. I will surely find one. I'm coming. Just monthly time frame. Okay, for instance, now this is an example. We have price went all the way up here and came back down here. What we do this too, and came back down here. We might want to mark this guy here as a swing. This is not a swing at all. And why is it not a swing? It is because we have price. Like, the reason why it is not a swing is because I don't want to explain like, okay, this was initially a break of structure here. Because if I say we have this guy here and we have this guy here, the next question is, what is the difference between what I marked out right now and what I just marked out? There's a whole lot of difference there, and I will explain that right now. So we have price create this guy. We have this candlestick here. Price rallied up from price rallied up from year to year. Then when price got here, price dropped lower than this candle. Price dropped lower than this candle, then went down lower subsequently, which then make this guy a high and created this guy as a low, and price went ahead to break it. Now you can see the difference between this one and this one. In this one, we can see that the price actually created a series of candles. This candle here is higher than this candle. This candle here is higher than this candle. Price just retraced. Maybe just retraced. We don't want to know why it retraced. We're not discussing about why it retraced right now. Price just retraced. Price did not break any structure here. This was only a retracement. If we are going to break it for any structure, this would be our next structure here. This break here will be our next structure, because price created this high, then started the retracing, retraced inside, then use this place as the lowest low before actually going back up. That is our swing structure. We just want to confirm our swing structure. When the moment we have our swing structure, we want to confirm our next swing structure by expecting price to create an high, then start coming down, and anywhere price reaches lastly before going back up is considered as our swing low or our swing high, considering the trend that we are currently at. So that is that about swing structure, about market structure. Now after that, we don't want to go into advanced market structure. Advanced market structure is where our whole concept comes in, which is structure, which is our sweep structure, which is this, and our liquidity, which is this. Now we want to understand something. When it comes to advanced market structure, we want to understand there are two kinds of structure. We have a V-shaped structure that comes like this, originally from the higher time frame, and we have a structure again, that comes as an original sweep, like on our higher time frame. This is exactly what you can find on our higher time frame. This guy here is exactly what you can find on our higher time frame. The moment you can find this guy here, this sweep here on our higher time frame, then we are actually right. So what is the first rule to this thing? The first rule to this thing indicates something to us, which is anytime we have a sweep of liquidity like this, if we find it on any time frame, for instance, let's say we find it on the daily time frame. Let's say I find the sweep on the daily time frame. The first thing I want to do is I want to go back to my weekly time frame to confirm. I want to go back to my weekly time frame to confirm if this structure was originally a V-shaped structure or a real sweep structure on my higher time frame. If it is a real sweep structure on my higher time frame, then I am good to go. Then what do I then wait for? I wait for a second break of structure like this on that my time frame too. If I find this on my daily time frame, now there are two rules to this thing. If I find this guy if I find a sweep structure on my daily time frame, I want to wait for that sweep structure to form on that same daily time frame, or I want it to form on my next relatable time frame, which is the 4 hours. So what I'm trying to say is that the moment I have a sweep of liquidity, like this, I want to wait for it. If this formed on the daily time frame, I want to wait for this second break to also form on that daily time frame. Or if I can't find it, if it doesn't form on that daily time frame, the next thing I want to do is the moment I have this break, I want to go back. Let's say this is the daily time frame. I want to go below. I want to go down to 4 hours time frame to check if I have a second break. Mind you, like I said, mind you, I'm so sorry, sir. And what I mean right here is that the moment we have this sweep of liquidity, we always want to make sure that that second break is not a type 2 setup. It's not a type 2 setup. It is an original second break, not a type 2 setup. An original second break. That's also what one thing we want to confirm. An original second break. Now, let me to now give rules to this thing. Let me give rules to structure. These are the rules that pertain to structure. We have the monthly time frame. I'm still going to explain this sweep in another way, but I want to explain just the time frame that we use in correlation to each other. The monthly time frame goes for the weekly time frame. The weekly time frame goes for the daily time frame. The daily time frame goes for the 4 hours time frame, and that is all. What do I mean that is all? The only time frame that we need, the only time frame that we would be needing is the monthly, the weekly, the daily, and the 4 hours. The only time we'll be needing the 2 hours time frame is what I'll be explaining somewhere around this video, but we don't need it right now. So the only time frame that we need is the monthly, the weekly, the daily, and the 4 hours time frame. And why am I choosing these time frames? My reason for choosing these time frames is because, number one, I have done my due studies, and I've gotten to see that the time frame that works best with structure and liquidity, especially on currency pairs, is monthly, weekly, daily, and the 4 hours time frame. And what do I mean by working currently? I got to realize that even without following the trend with the monthly, weekly, daily, and 4 hours time frame, there are chances of us getting a 50% win rate is very, very certain. Like very, very certain. So what do I mean? I mean we'll be taking much of less trades. And when I say I'm not like I noticed something. So I've been having a lot of losing streaks, basically because I've been trading the lower time frame, and I've been trading like my setup. I actually analyze my setup, and I also have a lot of mistakes to do with my setups. Maybe it is actually like due to stress, and I've been like very worked up lately. I've been very worked up lately. So stress but after studying, I realized on the daily time frame and on the 4 hours time frame, the chances of us getting 50% win rate is very high, like very high. So we don't need any other lower time frame. I know that it will be very boring, and we won't find trades on daily basis. Let's say for instance we might just find just a trade in a week, just a trade in a week, and I don't let me just say just a trade in a week or 2 or 3, and there are sometimes you'll find a trades all throughout that week. So I won't really call let me just say this is a swing strategy. A swing is I will call it swing trading. I used to go below the 4 hours before, but I just want something that resonates with my brain. I really like soft life, like that is me. So let me just say this is just the time frame that we actually need to work with, and it is very simple. It cut out the noise. I'm not saying that the lower time frame does not work. It indeed works, but then this cut out the noise. Like this time frame, just the monthly, the weekly, the daily, and the 4 hours time frame is all that we need, and we just need discipline. We need to train ourselves to become that kind of trader that sticks to these time frames. So, but if you want to delve deeper, and if you want to delve deeper and go and check, maybe you can actually do well with other time frame below this, then it is I won't say you should not. But why am I choosing these 4 time frames? I'm choosing this 4 time frame because of data. I have been able to gather information, like not just insight, like information on what really works with this pattern. And I realized that what really works the most is the monthly, weekly, daily, and the 4 hours time frame. And with this we have a chance of meeting a 60% win rate. In fact, we can take trades and win 2 losses, and we still have the confidence not to check the price about anything we are doing wrong, because we might just train ourselves to get conscious after we take 5 trades, five losses in a row. At least from that aspect, we can start building our mindset. Our mindset can start accepting the fact that the game we are actually playing is actually a game that we will actually lose money, but in the long run we get to win. Because when we take our first trade and we don't analyze what actually happened, because we are so confident to actually trade our setup, and trading our setup and actually getting stopped out on it is actually a win for us. We know that okay, that trade is a success, even though we took a loss, it was a successful trade. And yes, so let's just go back to our main technical analysis. So this is, if you want to do any of your further research, you can do any of that. But personally for me, I've done my research and I'm sticking to these time frames, and I'm not sticking to it to avoid losses, because I know that I will surely lose money. Like I will surely lose money in order to win. So, and again, like I said, this is not a juicy thing that will tell you that it actually works 100% of the time. Yes, you can get 100% win rates because you're a swing trader, but in 10 trades, the high chances we lose 4 trades with these time frames. So that is one thing I want to clarify. Now, let me go back to my structure again. So I just explained my swing structure right here. So let me just recap them all over again. I said the moment you have a sweep of liquidity, a sweep structure, the next thing we want to do is go back to our let's say if we find this, the only time we don't get to like judge this guy here is if we find it on the monthly time frame. The moment we find it on the monthly time frame, we know that okay, it is a correct structure. But let's say I find it on my day. Let's say that I'm just stepping on my chart and I don't want to do a lot of analysis. I just want to trade something, because I know I'm actually trading the higher time frame and I actually have a high chance of winning. and I just go to my, let's say I find it on my daily time frame, the next thing I want to do is I want to go to my weekly time frame to confirm if what I'm actually saying is right. So my weekly time frame, what do I want to confirm? I want to confirm if what I'm seeing is a true sweep or just a random structure like this. If it is a random structure like this, price is going to wipe it out. I'm not saying price will always wipe it out too, but according to our edge, according to what we know, because trading is complex, you can't know everything, but according to what we know that if we trade anything here, price is going to wipe it out. Price is going to wipe it out. So that's that. Now, what do we then do after we have confirmed our structure, if it is an original sweep or no, I'm sorry. What do we then do if we confirm that our structure is an original sweep? The next thing we want to do after confirmation that our structure is an original sweep is then look for liquidity. Now, let's say this is on the daily time frame. We then want to look for our liquidity on that same daily time frame, and that 50%, that liquidity must be on 50%. We want to look for that second break on that daily time frame, or if we can find the second break, if we can't find the second break on the daily time frame, the next thing we want to do is go to our subsequent time frame, which is the 4 hours time frame, to find the second break. And how do we mark out our Fibonacci to get the 50%? My Fibonacci is not drawn from year to year, it is drawn from year to year. This liquidity here must be sitting directly on this 50% or lower. It must be sitting directly on this 50% or lower than this. That is, and again, our sweep of liquidity must be lower than our structural liquidity. Now that is how our sweep is formed, our structure and liquidity. Now there's also a rule that I just discovered too. Anytime we have a real sweep and a structural liquidity, and we then have another break, let's say this break is on the daily time frame, I don't want to necessarily wait for price to come back to sweep this guy before going. No, the moment I have this third break, I want to then go to my, let's say, lower time frame that correlates with this. Let's say this is the daily time frame. I want to go to my 4 hours time frame. What do I want to look for my 4 hours time? I want to look for if I have any of this, if I have a sweep, like this on my 4 hours time frame, if I have a sweep, or do I have because since we are not going below our 4 hours time frame, all we want to check is we want to find if we have a sweep, then a structural liquidity on my 4 hours time frame. Then I can wait patiently for price to come back inside this and give me my trade. So that means that I won't necessarily be waiting for price to come back and take this liquidity, this guy here, as liquidity the moment I have this third break. So it is the same rule that applies to structure and liquidity that applies to this third break, which means that the moment you have a third break like this, the next thing I want to do is I want to go to the next lower time frame that correlates with this. If I find it on my daily, since my daily time frame and the 4 hours time frame is the only entry time frame I use, if I find this on my daily time frame, I want to go to my 4 hours time frame next to check if I can find a sweep, then structural liquidity, and wait for price to sweep it, then go my way. That is how I do this. And again, there's also another rule, because I want to show you, like, I've been studying a lot, and let me just show you another rule. So this is it again. And when it comes to structure and liquidity, once we have a break like this and another break like this, initially I said we have a real structure and we have liquidity. But the moment, let's say that this is our time, this is what we can actually find on our higher time frames, like on our higher time frame, we actually confirmed that what we had was just a normal V-shaped structure, a normal 2 V-shaped structure. Now the next thing I want to do is, let's say I found this on my daily time frame. I want to, and before I go to my daily time frame, I want to make sure that this guy here is sitting on 50%. This second break here is sitting on 50%. I don't just want to go in absorption first. So I want to confirm that, okay, is this guy really sitting at 50%? Because if he's not sitting at 50%, it's just like me wasting my time going below the lower time frame. So the moment I can find that price is sitting below on that 50% or below it, I want to go to my next lower time frame. Let's say this is the daily time. I want to go to my 4 hours time frame. I want to check on my 4 hours time frame. I want to check if on my 4 hours time frame this first guy here is a sweep, as a sweep. Then this second break here, this one here, it must never have a sweep. Like, it must never have a sweep. It must, because the moment it has a sweep, it has actually disqualified this trade. It must just be a normal V shape as well. I mean this second break here. The only structure that is qualified to have a V shape, a structure, is only this first structure here. This second structure is not qualified to have that guy. So that is this. This is this about structure and liquidity. And I would actually appreciate, like I said, I would actually appreciate if there's anything you don't understand, sir, and let me just get feedback. Let me just get feedback, sir. So that is that about structure and that's about swing structure and advanced market structure. Now I want to go back to my POI. There's one thing we call Quasimodo reversal. Quasimodo reversal is an order block that failed. So that is what we'll be using as our structure. That's what we'll be using as our POI, rather. An order block that failed. So an example is this. This is an example of Quasimodo. We have, this is the monthly time frame. We have a break. This is sweep here. Since I said on the monthly time frame, we meant to have this guy. I don't need to go to any time frame to verify it. So I understand already that I have this guy here. So this is my POI. This is just my POI. This is the POI that I want to use, and I just want to set my limit to that there. So a Quasimodo is actually an order block that failed previously. Another block that failed previously. That is Quasimodo reversal. But that is Quasimodo reversal, which is going to be our entry. So this is everything about structure and liquidity. Now the main point, which is top-down analysis. Now there's something about top-down analysis that I used to give myself. I actually have a rule when it comes to top-down analysis, and that rule comes with what I name being I'm sorry. The rule comes with what I name being flexible, like being flexible and not married to a bias. And I'm not just saying that we should just keep this in our mind alone. The first thing is to top-down analysis is that we want to follow the trend. That's the number one thing. And the number two thing is we want to be flexible. We want to follow the trend and we want to be flexible. Those are the two rules to top-down analysis: flexibility and trend following. We don't want to trend against the trend, and we want to be flexible. That means you don't want to be married to a bias. And these two are the way we use them. We don't just use them inappropriately. If price is bullish, we don't want to be selling. If price is selling, we don't want to be buying. So because I said we have to be flexible does not mean that I can just do anything I like. That is not what I mean. No. What I mean is, for instance, let me give an example of flexibility, of what I mean by being flexible. So what I mean by being flexible is this. Let's say I have a structure like this. I have a structure like this, and originally I don't have a structural liquidity, and I went to my subsequent lower time frame too, and I can't find a structural liquidity there. Then the next thing I want to do is I want to plot out my Fibonacci from year to year. I want to wait for price to come back to this zone here, and give me something like this. Before I start buying. So, and this is part of my flexibility rule, because I don't have structural liquidity. So this is my one rule of flexibility trade: waiting for price to come back into this zone before buying and forming my type setup. And again, I also want to explain something. Personally, I don't like type 2 setup. I'm only sticking to type 1 setup, and I'm only sticking to type 1 setup from data. Like when I say data, I've gathered data enough to actually realize that type 2 setup does not work personally for me. So I'm actually saying this because I don't want you to start trading another setup and start losing money anyhow. Obviously there will be losses, but we don't want to take dumb losses. So this is it. This is I only take type 1 setup, like type 1 setup. I don't take type 2 setup. I don't like it, and I'm not going to take it. I don't want to take type 2 setup. I don't want to take any other type of any type of setup like that. I don't want to take it. So now, like I said on my top-down analysis, this is my first flexibility rule. My first flexibility states that I just have a structural liquidity, and I just have a structure without a structural liquidity, and I patiently waited for price to come back into this zone. And when price came back into this zone, I waited patiently for price to give me this guy here, and I just assumed that, okay, fine, since I don't have structural liquidity, price is just going to like sweep this guy, then start going up. That's my one rule of flexibility. And what is the next rule of flexibility? My next rule of flexibility is that initially I don't have a structural liquidity, and I know that there is one thing that might happen. Is either price give me structure here and give me an opportunity to buy, or price eventually like takes this guy out because there was no structural liquidity. Take this guy out. So what then will I do with my flexibility rule? The moment price is not giving me an indication, even if price gets into this POI and it's not giving me an indication to sell, it's not giving me any sort of indication to start buying, and it is giving me a sell signal, I will take that trade. Not because I'm actually following, not because I'm trading against the trend, but because I'm following a flexibility rule, and that flexibility rule is backed up with a system that says that because this guy does not have a structural liquidity, I'm expecting it to get wiped out. So that is my rule for that, and so that is my flexibility rule for this. So I'll be creating a new video for top-down analysis that is actually the main top-down analysis that is different from the flexibility rule. So right now I hope I have explained market structure, the swing structure and liquidity, time frame, the time frame I use, the time frame I use, I'm so sorry. Like I'm so sorry. Like I'm having a lot of headache. So uh, uh that's why I even want to create the term analysis in another video. My head is banging a lot. This is, let me say, I've not had sleeps in days now. Not days actually, but I've not been. To cut the long story short, so I've talked about structure and liquid structure. I've talked about swing structure, and I've talked about POI, which is Aquasi model, and I've talked about time frames. So that is that, and I'll be creating a video on top down analysis. Alright, I want to go to bed now. Yes, thank you so much.